Hey everyone, welcome to a new video. Welcome to Floating in Dreams. This is my makeup decluttering series for 2022. So let's get started. Welcome if you're new here. Welcome if you're a returning visitor. Thank you so very much for joining me today. Yes, we are doing my annual makeup decluttering series. I like doing this once a year as a bit of spring cleaning because my drawers just tend to overflow after a year of trying and using makeup, and I just need to get organized. If you don't know who I am, my name is Maaike. Welcome. I'm from the Netherlands and I love to try eyeshadow palettes. I love trying out Essence and Catrice products, but I also love going back to old favorites and really getting the use out of my products, use them up from time to time. Like, I really do like to not only have so many things that I can no longer get the use out of it. So that's where these declutters sort of fit into my channel and how I go about things. Now, I will be reusing this exact intro for all of these videos that I'm doing. I'm doing 5 in total, but these videos always also need a bit of a disclaimer. So bear with me as I go through these. Step 1, no, I will not be sending you any of my makeup. A lot of the things I'm getting rid of are quite old, and I would not feel good passing this on to anyone I don't know. So it's gonna go to friends or family, and that's pretty much it. Step number 2, I am not a YouTuber or blogger who receives a lot of PR. I am on PR lists, but I don't request that many things because I would like to be in control of what's coming into my collection, really. But I have been doing this for a long time, which is why I have a larger collection. But this is not going to be one of those cutthroat declutters where we get rid of like half the collection. This is not it, if that's what you're looking for. And the third step that I need to mention is the fact that I will not be swatching a whole lot of products here. I actually did collection videos leading up to this decluttering series where I did do all of those swatches. And also, if you use the search bar on this channel or on my blog, you can find reviews where I have swatches and looks up with a lot of these products because I tend to review everything I try. And I really use my blog as this like giant catalog that I can refer people to if they have questions on like multiple looks with eyeshadow palettes or anything like that. Then you can just check that out. And very often I will also have like mentioned products or shown them in videos as well. So you can always also check out the channel if you would like to see more. So without further ado, let's get started. Welcome to my eyeshadow palette declutter, and this is going to take me some time because I've got a lot of eyeshadow palettes, and I definitely I'm not someone who likes to give myself a number as to how much I want to declutter because I never really know in advance, but my eyeshadow palette collection is just getting out of hand a little bit. So that's why I am thinking of a number. Every year so far I've aimed for 50, and this year I'm going to aim for 75, possibly 100. That's what I would like to get rid of, if at all possible. And I'm going to do flat lays like this, where I just lay out like particular brands or palettes that I kind of store together. You're currently looking at like more affordable palettes that are like where I only have like 1 or 2 from a certain brand. And then we're just going to go through that, and then we'll do like, you know, all of the Too Faced stuff together. That's the way I'm going to organize it because I think that will be helpful. I will have an additional category than just declutter or keep for my eyeshadow palettes because I already know, like last year, that I'm going to have to do a follow-up video to this where I reorganize some things. So if things are magnetic, or if there are palettes where I've realized I'm really only keeping it for 1 or 2 shades, I'd rather press those into singles and then use them as part of my singles collection and declutter the palette. So there's going to be a grouping of palettes that are going to be decluttered, but that I still need to use or do videos with, or that I want to reorganize. So there's going to be 3 categories for sure. And I will add everything up towards the end as part of the declutter. So, as I already mentioned, you're looking at my first overview here. These are the palettes that I don't really have a lot from when it comes to like these brands. So that's why we've got quite a mixed bag going on here. And I think there's actually quite a bit here that I would like to get rid of, to be quite fair. Something I don't want to declutter is the Sugar Pill Fun Size palette. This is such a fun, bright, neon and pastel pops of color kind of palette, and definitely something I need to do in this video is also like cut down on my rainbow palettes, because I have way too many. But this is one that I want to keep because I feel this has some unique shades that I don't have anywhere else. I also would like to keep my two Fenty ones. I know a lot of people don't like the Fenty Snap shadows, but I really enjoy these. I have them in Cool Neutrals, and I have the smoky one. But I know I can get rid of the Kimchi Chic Virgin Mojito palette. I wanted to try this brand because I hadn't tried anything from the brand yet. And this is a good eyeshadow palette. It's really pretty. It's really fun. Very funky. The yellows and the limey greens are a really, really fun, bright pop of color. It's just that I feel that I have bright pops of color like this in other palettes that I would reach for over this. But it was fun to try, and I really, really appreciate this. And I feel the same way with my LA Girl stuff, actually. So this is the Downplay palette, which is like a dupe for the Huda Beauty Smoky Obsessions, I believe it was. This is a stunning little palette, but I feel I have this color story in many other palettes for sure. Plus it's a little bit too warm toned for my liking in these brown shades. And also the Main Stage Desert Dream palette. I decluttered the one I had last year as well. And this is so pretty. I just felt that the undertones just didn't really work very well on me. Not sure you can see, but right here off to the side I have this K-Beauty palette. This is from Peach Sea. This is their Falling in eyeshadow palette in Falling in Pink, and this is really, really pretty. I really appreciate this, so I definitely want to keep it. And also off to the side here is another keep. This is the Floral Romance palette from Max & More. But I am going to keep it around to be able to do looks with it for a video. I'm not going to be keeping this around afterwards. So this is going to be in that third category of still need to use it for a video, but then I will declutter it because I feel I have these shades a million times over. It's just that I've never tried Max & More, and it's a very cheap, affordable brand, I should say, that is available here in the Netherlands from Action. And that's also why I want to keep these two around. These were sent to me by a lovely subscriber. Rival Hearts Me as a German makeup brand that I cannot get. It's drugstore. I think it's a similar price point to Max & More. And she got me the Smoky, which is lots of lovely gray tones. And we have the Jungle palette, which is like green tones with a pop of berry. Very pretty shades. These didn't swatch the best, so I'm very curious to see what the quality is like once I start playing around with these on my eyes. But I am going to be cluttering these two. I don't even want to put these on my eyes. These are by Profusion, the Enchanted and the Wanderlust palette. And I got these off TK Maxx, so they weren't too expensive. But I swatched these, and I played around with these a little bit, but I don't want to put these on my eyes. They smell really badly. This is another palette that I'm very much looking forward to using. This is one that is not going anywhere. This is the only PR in my entire makeup collection. The What's Up Beauty Desert Monsoon palette. Yeah, this is the only PR. I haven't used it yet. It's swatched beautifully. And then I'm a bit torn what to do with this one because I decluttered my other Morphe Jaclyn Hill Vault palettes last year. I took a couple of the shades out, repressed them into my Colourpop palettes, and I love that. But this one, the Dark Magic, has always really like hit a soft spot for me because it is really lovely cool tones. It's just that I probably have these shades already in other palettes. But do I have it all together in one palette? I don't think so. So that's why this always gets to stay. But I don't really think about having this palette or owning it. So I'm going to make a maybe pile over here. These two are, again, need to go in the I still need to use these for a review kind of things. These are by H&M Beauty. This is the Quad in Nice Mauves. Really pretty. I already used this for the full face of H&M Beauty that I did. And I really like the quality. So that is probably the one that's going to stay when I get rid of these. But once I've tried this one as well, I think this is the one I'm going to declutter. This is Vintage Rose. So what I'll do is that I'll put one with the keep pile and the other one in the I just need to try this for a video pile. Then I'm going to say goodbye to my Kiko Color Fever quad in the shade 101. They no longer do this, and this cranberry color story just isn't my vibe anymore. So that's why this product is gonna go after all these years. But I would like to keep some Kiko eyeshadow, and I did buy this in the past year. This is from their Precious Rituals collection, and it's actually quite a similar color story, but it's a little bit more pinky with a berry kind of shade. It's not as like purpley leaning. So this is a little bit more what I like right now, and it's good to have Kiko eyeshadow. And I'm gonna do it, you guys. After all these years, I'm going to declutter my Milani Soft and Sultry. This was discontinued years ago, and everybody keeps saying what a lovely palette this is. This quality was outstanding, and nobody can understand why Milani doesn't make this anymore. So yeah, it's truly that, but I just don't reach for this. And finally, we have my two e.l.f. palettes, and of these, again, I'm a bit undecided. I'm sure about the Retro Paradise. This I got last year. It didn't come to the Netherlands until like February time last year. I tried it, I really enjoyed it, especially this shade over here. That's a really pretty duochrome, but it's got quite a lot of warm tones, which I don't love. The fun pops of color are really fun, but if I feel I have this palette in other parts of my collection, so I don't need to keep this. So that's a declutter. But this I'm a bit torn about because I love the Earth and Ocean. It's such a beautiful palette. And I love, for instance, this shade over here, Underwater, I really like, and Tundra as well. It's a great blue-green color story. With some neutrals, it can just do so much. And yet I am thinking of decluttering this because I have other blue-green palettes that if I want to go for blue-greens, I would reach for those over this. I'm going to keep this for now. So there we have the eyeshadow palettes that I feel I have a couple by like from more affordable brands. And here I think I'm going to get rid of everything that you can see lying in front of you. I'm finally doing it. I'm going to be decluttering the remainder of my Sleek collection. I've been breaking this up for years now, and it's just time. These are old. I don't really think about these, and I think that if there's a brand that's replaced Sleek for me, it's a brand like Colourpop. And then I have the Nautical collection, which is the only one where I'm like, do I want to put this in a Makeup Memories box because this is the OG blue-green palette with neutrals. But then I'm like, yeah, then I'm going to keep the e.l.f. and I'm going to get rid of this. I think that's a better choice. And I'm going to finally get rid of the Storm, the first one I ever bought. And then what I'm also going to be decluttering are my remaining Makeup Revolution palettes. These are all the Makeup Revolution eyeshadow palettes I still have. And again, I don't think about these. I don't even remember I have these. These are like in the back of a drawer somewhere. So this is the Black Ice, Black Pearl. The only one I'm a bit torn about here is Turkish Delight because this color story is so pretty, quite unique. And for Makeup Revolution, like this lime green, they don't do that anywhere. But I feel I have these shades in other palettes, so I don't need to keep this. And the Avocado, Mini Tasty Avocado, I think it's called. Again, a lovely green color story, but I have another green color story that's quite affordable that I just enjoy a lot more. And then finally, a bit of a mishap on my part. I saw some people doing Sheglam makeup looks, and I was like, Sheglam, that's a brand I'd never heard of. So I went into the website, saw they were super affordable, and I was like, oh, they do some interesting color stories. I would like to try them. So I think the ones that I've reviewed are these two. So the Splash Bash, which is pinks with greens. It's so pretty, but I'm going to declutter it. And then the Deep Feelings palette, which is another cool tone color story, which I like, but again, I prefer other things. And the reason why this was a bit of a mishap is that when I bought this, I didn't really realize that this was owned by Shein. And I've never ordered anything from Shein myself because I'm a little bit against that kind of like branding and the way they run their business. So yeah, I'm not going to be using the Hello Yellow, and I won't be putting it in another review. Another really good cool tone color story they do is the Wolf Calls. And then the Cactus Cool. I know a lot of people are like, ooh, I want a green toned color story, but I want it to be cool toned. They did it, and I haven't found anything like it. So they do some really cool, pretty unique things. But yeah, definitely look into the ethics behind Shein, and then you'll understand why I'm getting rid of all of these. Alright, so welcome to the Colourpop madness. We've got a lot going on, but some of these are also gonna go. In case you don't know, once I start opening these up, I reorganized a lot of the monochromatic palettes last year. So I'll make sure to link that video down below in case you would like to see. But yeah, I'm also going to be reorganizing some more of these as well. Mainly these three over here. I have a couple of these 5 pans, and I feel that this is not the same quality as their round pans. So that's why I didn't buy any more of these. My favorite one of the 3 is the Ballad palette, so this is going to stay. but I definitely want to take some of these shades out. I don't like this shade and I don't like that shade, but this purple shimmer in the Cashmere Forever is really pretty. So I thought that could make a nice addition in here. And as far as I know, these are magnetic. So I'm going to try and take this out like I did with some of my other Colourpops. So this is another palette I still need to do something with kind of situation, but essentially decluttered. And this one as well. I really like this taupey shade in here. So I thought that that could make like a nice darker shade in here rather than that weird plummy blue. So I'm going to take either one of these like mattes out and take that out. So that's the Color Vision. And the one I'm going to be decluttering is the Thumper palette. This is really pretty, but I can't keep everything. And then these guys are the Zodiac collection ones. I still have the boxes so that I can tell these apart a bit more easily. So I have the Capricorn, the Taurus, the Cancer, and the Virgo. And these I'm going to keep. And then I have a couple of these like neutral palettes. I'm not sure what collection these were from, but I have the Cream Soda, the Sorbet, and the Dare to Bear, which is from their All Matte range, and these I love. But I will be decluttering Nuke Ink from their Animal Crossing collection, because this has a pressed glitter that I didn't know about. And as I mentioned, a lot of these have been reorganized. So for instance, my Aha Honey looks like this. Ooh, and it's got shades popping out, but that's what it looks like. So I took out the pressed glitter, I put in another shade, so this is not going anywhere. My Mint to Be is going to stay, but again, this is not what the Mint to Be originally looked like. Also, that goes for the Lilac You a Lot, but that's only one shade that's different. Everything else is still the same. And one of the biggest changes was possibly my Menage a Moi, which this is not what the Menage a Moi looks like. So then I can grab this because the Making Mauves, I did a more warm toned one and a more cool toned one. The Blush Crush isn't the Blush Crush, but these are 9 shades from the Stone Cold Fox. And the Strawberry Shake as well. I'm terribly sorry. This is It's My Pleasure, Ooh La La, and Strawberry Shake. The That's Taupe, however, is still in the OG original vibe, as is the Going Coconuts. I didn't change this. I didn't change my Wine and Only, but I'm thinking that I might this time round. Once I've tried the Orchid You Not, this is one of the newest ones I have. Like, I really like this color story too, but I don't like the plastic packaging. And I've kept around my Flutterby palette, but without the pans. And that has room for 12 shades, I believe. So that would mean I would have to get rid of 6 of these. So maybe because I feel there's a bit of overlap between these two, and then I could make my perfect like burgundy purple palette. The Baroque hasn't been messed with. The Cherry Crush is quite new to me, and this is one where I know I'm going to keep this packaging because I just think it's so much fun with the cherries and all that. But I'm going to be taking my shades from the main squeeze and like take one out because I really like this shade, but I think I want to put these shades in here. And actually the packaging I want to reuse for my Aha Honey that's broken is this. So I want to take these shades out and put the yellow shades in here because I love this packaging and I don't want to get rid of it. And I want to put these 9 shades in here. I'm going to get rid of all the neutrals and the warm tones, just keep this, this, and that. And I'm going to reorganize it together with this to make the ultimate teal color story. So I'm going to declutter the Dream Street. I have my Mandalorian the Child, which I'm not going to be decluttering. Again, not the original. I switched 3 shades out. And then we have the Off Quartz and the Sprinkle a Little Magic from the Tinkerbell collection. I don't feel this quality is the same as other Colourpop palettes I have. I've only swatched them so far, so I still need to put these on my face. But I actually think that I want to take out like these 4 shades and like select 4 of these and put those in that palette, and then empty out these pans and reuse this packaging for something else. So we have my more luxury quads, and these every single declutter I've done so far, I've always kept all of these, and I think it's time. It's time to get rid of some of these. Because I have a couple of these really bulky Dior things that are very old. So the pink one, do I really need a pink palette? I always like this shade. This is so pretty. And this was limited edition years ago, and it's one of my older Dior palettes. So this I think is going to go into a Makeup Memories box. And then we have Charlotte Tilbury left, and I'm going to be keeping my Charlotte Tilbury Easy Eye palette for the Charlotte Darling look. It has a very long name. And this is so pretty, and I was very surprised with how good this looked on me. So that's why I want to keep it. And this was a free gift with purchase. Like, Charlotte Tilbury gives away some good makeup when you place an order. Then I have the Walk of No Shame, which is the freebie I got this year. I haven't tried it yet, so I want to keep that. And then I have Vintage Vamp and Dolce Vita, which I believe is called Bella something by now. Like, they changed the name of things. Vintage Vamp is far more my vibe than Dolce Vita is, so I'm going to keep Vintage Vamp. And this I'm going to give to my mom. We are moving on to Kaleidos. And Kaleidos is a brand that I really love. In fact, I have some of the new Nostalgia collection, those 2 quads, those are on its way. But I don't have them at the time when I'm filming this video. So I'm going to be extending this collection, but I definitely don't love all of these palettes. I love the Club Nabla. Like, this is not going anywhere. This is such a fun color story to play with, so that's a definite keep. And then we have my Futurism palettes. And here I'm a bit torn because there's a couple here that aren't necessarily my favorite. So the ones that I don't love are these 3. And the reason why I don't like the Futurism one is because, and this is a bit petty, but it's too similar to things I already have. And I kind of knew that going into it, and I just don't love these shades. I love the black in here though. And I believe these are magnetic, so these are, again, things that I think I may want to like play around with. So the Futurism 2 Cyber Bronze, also stunning packaging. I love this. Again, I may just want to keep this around so I can like take some of the shadow out of the pan so I can repress other shadows inside it. So this, I do really like these 3 mattes. I like the silver and the red, but I don't really like that rosy tone shade. So that's why I'm thinking of changing this up and adding the bright pink from the VR Neons. Because I only really like that bright pink shimmer. I don't like the mattes, and I never wear an orange like that. I thought I could put the black from the Sci-Fi Green in the Astro Pink, because this has a black, but it's got silver sparkles, which is just not my vibe. These 3 are going to be untouched because I love these. The Electro Turquoise is my favorite Kaleidos palette so far. This is the reason why I don't own the Flower Punk, because there's a lot of like teals and like shades in here that are very similar. The Lavender, Lunar Lavender, that's what this is called. I know a lot of people didn't like this, but on me it worked really well. I love this. And then the Sashimi City was a surprise because I was like, ooh, that's going to be too warm toned for me, but it's actually a really good neutral palette, so I love that too. Alright, so now we're moving into Juvia's Place, and here I feel there are a few things that I'm going to get rid of. The Wahala 2, I already know someone who I know is going to love this, so I've only used it for the review, and I kind of knew going into it, it's got too many shades. I have blues and greens and other palettes that I love a lot, and this is the person I know doesn't have a very large makeup collection, so she's going to have so much fun playing around with those multi-chromes and duochromes that it has as well. These 2, I'm going to declutter, but, because they're very big, but there are a couple of shades in here that I love. So I'm going to be repressing some of this shadow in my Off Quartz by Colourpop once I have reorganized those and I take out all the stuff from the pans. I really want to keep, like, probably this one, possibly this one. And the Magic I love as well, especially the bottom 2 rows, but I'm not going to keep all of these shades because I feel that this green, I feel I don't really need. So for me, it's really about these 2 and possibly that shimmer. These 2 mattes were never that good, and I actually feel, where is it, that you get very similar shades to these purples and the violets. I mean, this really dark purple and that lighter purple. Maybe I still want to keep that shimmer, I don't know, but especially like these 4 shimmers I think I want to keep. Possibly this murky green. The violets I'm not going to get rid of. The mauves I'm not going to get rid of. These I love. And then the Saharan, I already did that thing where I said like, hey, let's change around some eyeshadow palettes. That's what I did with this because this is not the original shade that you got in here. I repressed the red from the Afrique into this palette. And then I have the Nomad, which is one of my favorites, so this is not going anywhere. The Saharan 2 is one of my favorite Juvia's Place palettes, not going anywhere. The Tribe, rest in peace. So lovely, won't get rid of that. Won't get rid of the festival, no matter how crazy this color story is. And I'm not getting rid of the Deuce. These are some of my favorite palettes from Juvia's. So those I'm not going to get rid of. But I will be decluttering the Zulu. I already mentioned I need to cut down on my rainbow palettes. This is one that I'm going to cut because I don't think about this. I just have other rainbow color stories that I prefer more. Plus, I think that person who I'm going to gift the Wahala 2 to is going to love this for a fun, bright pop of color. She likes playing around with things because she's quite new to makeup. So the Nubian Royal is one that I'm going to declutter, but especially this shimmer shade I really like. So when I repress those Magic and Masquerade shades into a palette, I definitely, and possibly also this matte, I may want to take 2 shades from this. So then I'm going to have 2 more left here. So the taupes I'm going to keep. I know not everybody likes it, but I like mine. And then we have the berries, which is not necessarily my color story, but I think it's got a good vibe. And I think that this has shades that, especially this bright pink or this plum shade and this shimmer, that can make for very nice things to, for instance, deepen up the mauves or other palettes. All right, so we're doing Beauty Bay and BH Cosmetics together in one little roundup. So the Beauty Bay ones, as I'm filming this video, I'm about to be like trying these out. So the Age of Opulence I haven't tried yet, so I'm going to put that on my face, but this is my kind of color story. And similarly, the Wilderness, I wanted to try this out to see if I like it, but I did a video not too long ago where I showed you palettes that are quite similar, and you can dupe out this entire color story if you have Melt palettes. So it's the Melt Gemini, the Melt Smoke Sessions, as well as the Melt Myrte. I own all 3 of those, and I far prefer the Melt formula over this. So this is another one where I'm like, I'm going to use it, I'm going to review it. I'm definitely happy that I got to try this, but I don't think this needs to stay in my collection once I'm done with it. And then we have the Book of Magic, and this I love. And I really think the Age of Opulence is going to give me some depth and dimension to this, because this is quite bright. And then we have BH. And I know that BH Cosmetics really got a lot of hype in recent years. Sad to see that the brand has announced that they have filed for bankruptcy. I'm going to keep the 2 colorful ones I have. So I have the Pistachio, which is the green. And because I like that so much, I also bought the blue one, which is the Bubblegum. And these have stellar quality. The Paris, Passion in Paris palette. And I bought this because a lot of people hype this up, saying it's a lovely purple palette. But if this makes me feel the way I feel about the Blueberry Muffin, I'm not going to be very happy with it, because I felt a bit let down by this. The blues in here are stunning. Like, these shades are really lovely. I like this, but this palette doesn't have a good enough crease shade for me. And I was very much thrown off with these shades pulling very strange on me. So for me, as much hype as this got, I didn't love it as much as everybody else. So I was curious to see if I would fall for the hype this time, and I like this as much as everybody else does. It's got some cool tones, seems to have a good crease shade this time. It's got some purples and then these berry shades. I like it, I think, but those are going to stay because I do like the quality of them. But my favorite travel palette is one that's been discontinued. It's the BH Cosmetics Love in London. This is my favorite travel palette they did. So this is going to stay, and this is what I mean with affordable makeup that has a cool toned color story. This would be my pick for sure. So that's going to stay. And I am going to get rid of these 2. So the Royal Affair, this has been on the chopping block for so long. I decluttered it 2 years ago. Then I really fell in love with neutral shades and BH Cosmetics, so I pulled it back out. That's literally what happened. So I kept it around last year. Haven't even thought about this palette ever since. So this needs to go. And then the BH Cosmetics Snow Fairy. What's this called again? Fairy Lights. I bought this because it looked like such a fun, cool tone color story. It has that steely blue that I like so much. But the pinks in here were very lackluster, and the blues really didn't add much. So this is just not my kind of color story. And again, I kept it around last year because BH was having such a big moment, and I was really loving trying their palettes. But I've tried this. I've used it. I think I even wrote a review with this on my blog, and it was limited edition and you can no longer find it. So I've had my fill with this. I had fun trying this. So I'm going to put this in the declutter pile. Let's do some indie palettes, shall we? So these are, I will have more indie palettes in a minute for sure, because I've got some bigger things too. And here, I don't think I'm going to get rid of a lot. But I have the Pamper Me palette from Unique Beauty here, which so stunning. That's a keep. And I have the Bubble Time, which I also love. Some really good shimmers in here, so those are going to stay. This palette by Sample Beauty, this is their Hydrographic. Yes, Hydrographic. So that's why I definitely need to get rid of it this time. And then I have my Game Beauty palettes. These I still need to try out. So these are currently in my to try pile for my 10 palette review video. So we have the Fantasy, the Adventure, and the Victory palette, and these just looks like so much fun. And then over here in the middle we have my Glam Shop palettes. These are made by a Polish indie brand, and they do some lovely things. This is the, I can get rid of the sleeve, I'm sure. So this is their green palette. They also have a blue palette. This is so stunning. And they also do a really lovely cool tone color story. So this is another reason why I can get rid of those cool tone color stories I just got rid of. This is my replacement for my Milani Soft and Sultry, you guys. Right, so I've lumped some other things together so you can hopefully see what I've got going on in this selection. These two palettes are by Midas Cosmetics, and they have gone out of business, I believe. I believe they've discontinued the brand, and I'm only now getting to try them. This is the Unveiled Cool Nudes. This is still on a to try pile. I still need to review this. It doesn't look very cool tone to me though. And the same goes for the Smoky Glow palette. I love the color story. I swatched this though, and I really didn't like the quality. So this is one where I'm going to do the looks. I'm going to give it the benefit of the doubt for now. So I'm going to put it in a 10 palette review in the next couple of months, and then I'm probably going to get rid of it. Shadows that I do very much like are by Alien Cosmetics. This is the Serendipity palette, which is now called the Poison Apple. I love this thing, and I also really like my Fairy Frolic, which is a bit more neutral, and I like these palettes so much that when this brand restocked, they're now called Unearthly Cosmetics, by the way, when they restocked the Lore and the Strawberry Milkshake, I did buy myself 2 more of their palettes because I want to try those too. And this is another palette I still need to put on my face, but it's a bit fragile. It came broken in the mail, and I've been pressing it back in, but it keeps being a bit fragile. This is the Sigil-inspired Tammy Tanuka what's it called again? Lavender Chinchilla, something like that. And then finally, Dose of Colors. I really love the Making Mauves, so this is going to stay. And I love the Blushing Berries, so it's going to stay. But these other 3, I'm not entirely sure whether they serve a purpose in my collection. So the Cutting Edge, I know I can get rid of, because it's similar to the Futurism 1 from Kaleidos and the Melt Gemini. And I prefer my Melt Gemini. So this, I'm going to declutter. But the Smoky Soiree, I just liked so much more. I thought when I bought these that I was going to like the Cutting Edge over this, but I prefer this. And the Pretty Cool, yeah, I can't get rid of an all matte cool tone color story. I just can't. Now this is where the YouTube side of things comes in, because this is my Essence and Catrice collection. And with Essence and Catrice, I tend to buy all of the shades, all the palettes available in a certain line, so I can do roundup reviews and stuff. So I definitely don't need to keep all of them in my active collection, but some of these I want to keep around just in case they come out with an extra palette, and I can always show them in tandem, like to compare the color stories and whatnot, because Essence and Catrice are also like doubling up on things. Something I know I can get rid of though is the Clean ID Mineral Eyeshadow Palette from Catrice. This was not great quality, you guys. It was not good. Not pretty. So that's gonna go. The Neon Nude palette. This was a limited edition. I think you could only buy it online. This was actually really pretty and really good. Do I need to keep it though? I don't think so. And then this, the Queen Couture from a collab that they did together with Essence. Essence actually released this palette in the same line. So that was their first joined limited edition collection. This is so pretty, so gorgeous, but I don't think about having this ever. And just look at how many repeat shades this has. Because I do want to put this in the Makeup Memories box, because This is so fun and sparkly. This is a lovely cool tone color story, but I never reached for this. But this is going to be the reminder of that joint collection, and that's going to go into a Makeup Memories box. The Essence Out in the Wild. This was nothing special, so I'm going to be decluttering this. And then we have the Benvenuti a Roma. This is new to their line, and the Welcome to Miami. So these I still need to put on my face, and then I need to decide what to do with this. This seems pretty good quality, so going to keep those. And then I have the Essence My Must-Haves. How long have I been keeping this around? And I've decided that it's just time. It's time to get rid of this. And then I have these four. The four that we did get. We didn't get the entire line. If you live in the US, you can buy 4 more of these. I've tried the ones that I could get my hands on, and of these I like these 2 the best, and these 2 I don't love. I'm still hoping we're going to get the other 4 and then I can do a dedicated video. That's the plan. So these are not going anywhere for now. I'm going to keep the bronze this way and the Ice Baby, so I can do like a ranking or something with these. So this is going to go in the declutter, but it needs to stay around for a reason pile. And then I'm going to keep Dancing Green, and I like to mauve it. And that's the same here. This is the entire 5-in-a-box eyeshadow palettes, and these little palettes from Catrice I just adore. But there's a couple here that I truly love, and a couple here where I'm like, I could do without them personally. But again, I'm still hoping that Catrice will do more of these, because I think last year as well, we didn't get some for like 1 round, and then we got 2 more. So in case they do more in the next like 2 roundups, then these are going to have to stay for sure to have the complete collection. But I'm going to put this in like Makeup Purgatory. This is the golden nude look. A bit too bland for my liking. I have other palettes that do that I like better. The soft rose look is going to stay. That's one of my favorites. I was very surprised with the warm spice look and how much I liked it, so this is going to be a warm tone palette I want to keep. I'm going to keep my favorite, the modern smoky look, and I'm going to do away with this one. If I were to declutter, the blue smoky look is going to be the one, because it's very gray toned. And then we have the vivid burgundy look, which was another warm tone that I did like, so this is going to stay. And here again, Catrice did an entire line of these Pro Slim eyeshadow palettes, and they now have 7 of these. I did a video with the first 6 where I reviewed all of them and compared them, and there were 2 that I really didn't like the quality of. So these are definitely going to be decluttered. Again, Catrice may be coming up with more of these, so I'm going to keep them around, but these are going to go into Makeup Purgatory. So the Lavender Breeze and the Peach Origin. And the one that I would also declutter if it were up to me. No, not this one. Yeah, this one too. I have this too many times in my collection. I would prefer the soft rose look from the 5-in-a-box. So this is going to go into Makeup Purgatory because I have too many similar things. And then I have the Neon Earth, which was really good quality, but I don't love warm tones, so this is going to go. But I love this, the Vintage Soul. Very unique color story from Catrice. I also really enjoy the Natural Spirit with those khakis in there. And I really actually also like this. This is the newest one, the Hint of Mint. And then we have these guys. And these are the recent limited edition collection palettes that Catrice and Essence came out with for their Disney Princess line. These were released last November, I think. And in my recent Makeup Memory box declutter, I did declutter the other limited editions that I had from Essence and Catrice. Like, I didn't get rid of everything, but I kept the 2 palettes that were my favorites. And that's what I want to do with this as well, because I can't keep all of this around no matter how pretty it is. I do have a 4-year-old niece, and she's getting into Disney princesses, so I thought maybe she could play around with something like this, like keep it here so she can have a play. The Pocahontas, those I'm going to get rid of, because the favorite one here from these Catrice palettes was the Belle for me. And I'm going to do the same thing with the Essence Jasmine palette. This is just really pretty. So stunning. I really like the packaging here too, but don't need to keep it in my everyday collection. And I'm going to declutter the Mulan because it's very similar to Natural Spirit. and the Rapunzel. Okay, so now we're going to be talking about a controversial brand, and every single year I've said I keep these palettes around because I do like the quality of them, but I've actually found that I can very easily pull this apart. So what I'm going to be doing with my Jeffree Star palettes is that I'm going to, again, include them in a video where I'm going to just break these palettes up because they're all like cardboard and you can very easily break them up. The mini breaker is the one that I'm going to give to someone else because this is very lightly used and I actually know someone who does really enjoy the brand. And then the Bloodlust, I'm really only interested in this shade and this shade, and some of these like sparkly shades were really pretty, and I believe this one. So I'm going to keep some of the things that I like, and then I'm going to put it in a singles palette. And the same goes for the Blue Blood. I now have other blue palettes that I just like better, or just as much, but there are a couple of shades in here that I did really enjoy, namely these two, and there were a couple of other shades in here that I did like. So I'm going to have to just pull the shades that I like. And in the Jawbreaker, I really enjoyed, mainly, you can just see, because that shade is a bit destroyed, but I really like the pinky reddish shades in here. So those I want to keep around, but I think I'm going to get rid of the rest of the palette, because it just didn't really bring me much. Plus, I have enough colorful palettes, but the Cool Tone Cremated, I'm going to keep intact. So I'll be decluttering 4 of those, and I'm just going to keep 1, and then I'm going to keep the shades that I like for, you know, the things I really just want to enjoy still. As you can tell, we're looking at my Pat McGrath collection, and I already know that I'm not going to get rid of any of these because these are some of my favorite palettes. My latest acquisition was the Venus in Fleurs Look Squad Voyeuristic Vixen. I always call this the Voyeuristic the Fleur. I never know what this is called. So this is warm tone though, but it has some really stunning shades. So I have 3 of the quads that she came out with last year. So Fleur Fantasia, Risque Rose, and this is the Fleur Fantasia, and then we have the Interstellar Icon. I have the Rose Decadence, which a lot of people didn't like, but I like mine. The 2 Blitz Astral quads from 2 or 3 years ago, so Nocturnal Nirvana and Ritualistic Rose. We get to my larger palettes. I don't have the entire collection, and I have no I have no desire to own all of these. My favorite one is a Subliminal, and my second large one was the Divine Rose 2, actually, which is my favorite of the 2 Divine Rose palettes. And this is the Divine Rose 1, which I like, but these 2 shades are a little bit too warm toned for me to go with the rest of the color story. Finally, the one that I haven't tried yet, because this is my newest one, Utopian Dream. Right, next up is Lime Crime, and Lime Crime does some really good things, I feel. I'm not sure I need to keep all of these, though. I love the Venus Immortalis, great cool tone color story. I love the Prelude Chroma, because it's got those teals and then some really stunning shades. Ooh, we're getting a lot of sun. And then we have the Venus 3. And this is the one I'm a bit on the fence about because I feel it's not super unique in my collection. So this is a maybe because it's very similar to the Nabla Soul Blooming. The large 2 I'm going to keep. I love the Venus XL. And the Venus XL2 is such a good one. If you're looking for the Mini Retro by Natascha Denona in a larger size, try this. Next brand we're talking about is ABH. I really like my ABH rectangular palettes, but the things I bought from the Norvina line I'm going to get rid of because I don't love these. So this was the Volume 3 Mini, which it's got a pressed glitter. I don't love that. So that I'm going to declutter. And this I'm actually going to gift to another friend. This is the Volume 4 of the large ones. A, it's too big. 2, it's pressed glitters. And I didn't like the quality. So the 9 rectangular palettes that I have aren't going anywhere because I love them. So in case you don't know these, I'm sure you do. Sultry, Subculture, Modern Renaissance, Suv Glam, the Prism, the Cardi Bible, which surprised me because I thought I wasn't going to like it, and I liked it a lot more than I thought I was going to. Norvina Original, this is still my favorite. It should have more purples though, but I have plenty of purples in my collection. Then the Riviera, which I know a lot of people have been decluttering, but I love the shimmers at the top. I just do. And I think the best one they've come out with, the Jackie Aina. Next up is Nabla. And sadly, some of my Nabla palettes are gonna go because I didn't love all of these. So let's start with the side by side. This got so much hype and I tried it, and the undertone of these shades, I don't know, there's just something about it that it doesn't quite work. And I actually have a palette that I feel is my Nabla side by side, which you'll see in when we talk about some more indie palettes. So yeah, this is lovely. It's good quality, but the color story just wasn't perfect for me. So I'm going to declutter this side by side. This was discontinued, but I love the Soul Blooming. The Secret palette. I really like it, but I feel that, did they discontinue it because that new palette they've announced, as I'm filming it, it's just been released, that they're releasing a new palette. And it looks just like this, but more warm toned. And then I have the Cutie palettes. And I love my Cutie palettes. I have all of them, but I don't like all of the color stories. So again, since this is a collection that I have everything by, just in case they can't come out with other things, I'm going to keep them all, but I'm going to keep some in a like makeup purgatory pile. I'm not going to get rid of Analog. This is a stunning warm tone palette. And also the Midnight, I really, really loved. I loved my Platinum. This is a good cool tone color story if you don't like cool tones and you want to try them. The Cutie, Coral Cutie, was very much a surprise to me at how much this actually worked for me. And I love the Nude. This is such a good bland color story. It's really good for every day. And the ones that are going to go into Makeup Purgatory then, that I want to keep around because I want to keep this set, is the Wild Berry. I don't like this on myself, and I also didn't love the Metropolitan. So I thought we could do a tandem declutter here for two brands in one go. So we have Viseart and we have Tarte. And here, such a tough decision. Of the Viseart ones, my least favorite was the Dark Edit. This was just a bit weird on me. So I'm inclined to actually let this go. But at the same time, I'm like, do I really want to get rid of it? Like, I like the shimmers in here, but I didn't love a lot of the mattes here. It's very warm toned. So if I were to declutter one, it would be this one. I really don't need it. I have other Viseart palettes I like. I'm pretty sure I have shades like this elsewhere in my collection. So yeah, I'm going to get rid of the Dark Edit. The Petite Pro 3, I love. I have the Petite 4 Lilas, which is really lovely cool tones. The Midsommar. Really, really pretty. And then one I still have to use is the Étoile. I love this color story. My two favorites, the Violette, where is it gonna open? The Violette Étendue. I love this. I would like to try the Paris Edit. I'm pretty sure that's still around too. And then the Cashmere was also one that I still need to put on my eyes at this moment, but I'm sure I'm gonna love it because I love Viseart quality. And then we have Tarte, and here I have a similar sort of dilemma where, you know, these two, they're not perfect for me. This I love. This is a long standing favorite in my makeup collection, the In Bloom. And this, what was this called again? High Tides and Good Vibes. I pulled this out of my drawer and I was like, oh yeah, I have that palette. It's really pretty. It's got pressed glitters that I actually like, which is very unique. I love these bluey shades. The browns are warm tone, but not too warm. I need to go back to this and play around with it some more. This is going to be so fun in the summertime. Here's the thing, like, I don't want to break up the collection. This is why I'm struggling, right? So I have the Tartelette Toasted, and I have the Tartelette Juicy. And both of these are warm toned, and they're a bit too warm toned for my complexion. Now, I feel that the Catrice 5 in a Box Warm Spice look is very similar for like the look that I usually do with my Tarte. But then I bought the Juicy, and I do really like the Tarte formula, and I really like this bottom row here. But I don't love this middle row at all. Just completely wrong undertone for me. It looks really strange, I find. And also these pinks weren't perfect. If I look at them together, I'm like, it's so easy for me to mix and match these and create new looks. So do I then want to get rid of this? Because with this, I really like the top and the bottom row. And I like that bottom row. And there's a couple of shades in here I do like, but I can't get rid of these, you guys. But welcome to Huda Beauty. I'm going to be decluttering some of these. Yes, I'm going to be getting rid of a couple of my Huda Beauty stuff. Not my larger palettes. I love the Desert Dust till this day. Mercury Retrograde. I had so much fun playing around with this. I definitely want to go back to it. And then, of course, the newest one, the Rose Quartz. Such pretty cool tones. Great for my undertone. Loved it. We're going to get rid of some of the Obsessions palettes because, I mean, Come on, I've got like how many of these? There's too many, and there's definitely a couple that I know I won't get the use out of, especially the blue one here, the Sapphire. I've got other blue palettes like that BH Cosmetics Bubblegum, far better than this. Electric Obsessions, I told you I was going to get rid of some of my rainbow color stories. This is one of them. And also the purple, the Amethyst. It's just not that purple. I've always said it. It's always irked me. Yeah, this is gonna go. This is gonna go. Especially if I make myself that custom Juvia's Place purple palette. I'm pretty sure I'll have some good purples in there then. The Emerald I've always liked. And I like how it complements the Khaki, the Haze palette. So I really enjoy the Haze palettes. To me, they're really good. Like, if you want to make this more green, you just can. So these Khaki Haze I loved. I really like the Sand Haze. Like, for me, the Sand Haze was what rounded out these two. So if you take the Nude Rich and the Nude Light Obsessions, then for me this is the one that should sit in the middle rather than the one that actually came in the medium shade. The Purple Haze I love too. Like, this is just really lovely, and it's a great palette to give a little bit more depth to the Lilac Obsessions. This was one of the pastel ones, and again, I feel that if you pull in some of these shades together, like, I love how these just combine and they're small and easy to use and all that jazz. The Wild Jaguar, come on, this has me written all over it. And then the Chocolate Brown Obsessions I really like too. Now, where did I put it? So if I put this next to the Rich, Nude Rich, again, I feel that these are two lovely palettes that can complement each other very well. And then I just have the Neon Orange, which this is popsicle, fun, summery shades. I want to keep this too. And then the Balm palettes. Now, some of these have been on the chopping block before. I've already put some of these in like Makeup Purgatory before too. And when I did my rosy mauve tone ranking video, I completely forgot to include this. So that tells you that it's just time to get rid of some of these. I do want to keep the Nude Tude. I want to keep the Balm palette. And this is the OG. So I think the Nude Tude, the Nude Dude, and the Nude Beach, these are all gonna go. But I do want to keep my Meat Matte Nude palettes. So the Meat Matte, these are their matte color stories. These are so good. And I don't love matte shadows, but it's one of those things where it's like, if you need a matte shadow and you have these three palettes, I don't think they still do them, but then you have everything you need. Natascha Denona, I have 6 of her palettes. I'm not a huge Natascha Denona collector. I definitely only pick and choose the color stories that truly appeal to me. So, Mini Retro, staying. Mini Love, staying. Retro Midi, staying. The Glam Retro, midi sized, staying. Then the Gold palette is staying. And yes, I took out the gold, but that's in the lila because this shade is in the gold. So these are all gonna stay. The next brand I have for you is Too Faced, and I finally decided to get rid of some of these. The Too Faced Just Peachy Mattes, I'm already keeping the Balm ones. I don't need to keep this around. I've always kept it around for this really deep chocolate brown, but I feel the cool tone brown I get in my Glam palette from Natascha Denona is equally good. My favorite, and that's not gonna go away, is the White Chocolate Bar, which I know everybody hated on. But I know, it's just time. The Gingerbread Spice, I don't think about this. It's warm toned. I generally only like one shade, one in the corner here. So that's the Declutter. And this I pulled from my Makeup Memories box because last year I decluttered this, but put it in a Makeup Memories box thinking, I know that this is like makeup history. I want to keep this around. And I'm like, yes, it's makeup history, but it's not my makeup history because I've never liked this palette all that much. So I'm going to get rid of it. And then I have the Semi-Sweet. This was my pick over the original chocolate bar. This is gonna stay. And then the Sweet Peach, I'm going to get rid of it. I'm gonna do it, but I am going to keep the chocolate bonbons. Lorac, 1, 2, 3, 4. Those are the pro palettes that I have. And again, here as well. It's warm toned. It's really, really like deep. These 4 shades don't work on me. Like, this is the palette for me. So that mauve shade has seen a lot of use. That has a dent, but I don't really love any of the shimmers save for Garnet, so the Lorac Pro 1, bye-bye. Pro 2, I'm on the fence about, because this has more shimmers I like, especially Chrome, Jade. I don't really love these four, though. I do like some of the mattes in here. I like the plum and the navy shade. I'm a bit undecided on that, so I'm going to put it in the maybe pile just to see. I'm not getting rid of my Pro 3. Like, this has more dents than any of them, like Rose Bronze, Light Pewter. This has the shimmers I love. It has the mattes I love. This was the first neutral tone palette that allowed me, with my fair skin, to use every single shade. And then the Pro 4, because I've just come into so many different palettes in the past few years, I haven't really used this much. But this silver mauve shade and ice rose I like. Merlot and Begonia are like my version of Garnet. You get Java, which is really pretty. You get some really lovely mattes at the top too. So yeah, I think I'm definitely going to keep these two. Not so sure what to do with the Pro 2 yet. Do you think I'm going to get rid of any of my melt palettes? Well, yes, there is one thing. I have a stack here. This is the She's in Party stack. And at the end of 2021, I decided to cave and finally buy myself the She's in Parties palette. So I now have these shades in a more updated formula because I feel that these swatch much better than the stack did. I just think these got a little old. And I already said it last year when I decided that I was going to declutter this, that if I bought the palette, I was going to get rid of the stack. So the time is now. Smoke Sessions, staying. Gemini, staying. Muerte, staying. Millennial Pinks. I know not everybody liked this, but I really liked it on my skin tone. These are pinks I can get down with. Staying. And the Mary Jane, which not a lot of people liked, but I loved mine. And then I have the Waiting Room palette from their Beetlejuice collection. I really, really like these shades. And then this is the stack that I created out of the Gunmetal stack last year. So these are two shades from the Gunmetal stack. This is from the Blueprint stack. This is from the Rust stack. And then this is again Gunmetal. Welcome to Menagerie Cosmetics. I definitely got some more of those because those were still on the wish list. I'm not going to declutter the Feral. This is such a great colorful color story. And even though it's a bit older, I love the Dragon Child as well. Like, these are just some really good purples and like cooler tones and some fun pops of color. So I cannot get rid of these, like, ever, I'm sure. And I really like the Pastel Pop. This is my favorite pastel palette. But these, I'm a little on the fence about. Now, I know that these palettes are magnetic, so I know I could reorganize it. So I think I may want to do that. So I liked my Violet Ink, but I thought it wasn't as purple as I'd like. I'd have liked this to be more purple. But these three shades, and then these three shades, I think can go really well into these. Because I found the Whale Song to just not have as much variety as I'd like. And the same thing with the Flight Club, and especially here, I feel like these two shades, and maybe also this, that it's just, or maybe that pink even, that it's just taking away from how purple this could possibly be. So maybe I'll just take some shades out of the Flight Club and put all of the Violet Ink in, like, whatever. I'm going to rearrange these when I do I'm going to rearrange some palettes video. So I thought we could talk about some more indie palettes next, and I've got quite a few here actually. I've grown my indie palette collection quite a bit over the past year. And out of this entire selection, the only thing I want to get rid of is the Ace Beauty Slice of Paradise. I have to cull some of my rainbow palettes, and this is one of the ones that I've decided I just can't part ways with, because my two favorite ones are these ones. So the Slush 1 and 2 from September Rose Cosmetics. I always recommend the Slush 1 for people with fair skin who are looking for a good bright color story. This is lovely. And then for some more saturated rainbow colors, this is actually my favorite. So these I want to keep. Lunar Beauty Eternal Eclipse, not going anywhere, of course. The Sugar Crystals I bought so I'd have some more shimmers to pull into colorful things. So that's why it's gonna stay. And then the Ace Beauty Oceanic is my favorite blue-green palette. So that's why that's gonna stay as well. So a slightly new selection here, and I think there are a few things I can get rid of, but I'm not going to declutter any of my Odin's Eye. I did order the Hella palette from their collab with Angelica Nugvist, but that isn't here yet. It's on its way to me as I'm filming this. So this is the Solomona. I really like this brand. But I don't have everything. Again, I really pick and choose what appeals to me, and not all of their color stories do. And then I have the Norms, Persona, Identity 2. This is so lovely. I don't like this as much as the Identity 1. I prefer this one, but I think the 2 is just a fun palette to play around with. So yeah, this is these are two lovely, lovely palettes. But I will be decluttering the Hasina 2 from Blush Tribe. This brand is no longer available. They closed down, I think, 2 years ago. And I always kept it around because it's like, ooh, that's a blue, green, purple color story. That's why I want to keep it. But I now have my Book of Magic from Beauty Bay. And I'm also going to part ways with the Colored Rain Queen of Hearts. This is lovely, but I would reach for my Huda Beauty Desert Dusk over this. Okay, so next roundup, and then definitely, again, something I can, a place where I can get rid of things. So Certify is a great brand, but they haven't done anything new in a while, and I just feel I have better rainbow and blue-green palettes by now. So I decluttered this last year, and then I kept it around because I was going to do a blue-green palette video a few months later, and then it just kind of stuck around. So yeah, I've decided I'm going to declutter these, because I feel I would prefer, like, if I go like rainbow palette, I go Slush September Rose, and if I go blue-green This Bright, I go Ace Beauté. So these are sort of neglected in my collection. Miscellaneous Cosmetics then, the Fawn palette. Nobody really talks about this, but if you're looking for an alternative to the Nabla side-by-side, this UK indie brand does this, and this is my Nabla side-by-side. So that's why I'm keeping this over. Let me see if I can still find it. That's the exact same color story, and this worked on me so much better because when I blended these out, the undertones were much more perfect for me. Then we have the Miscellaneous Cosmetics Witchcraft palette. Like, how can you say no to such a grungy color story? Like, for real. The LA Splash Classic Horror then, I said I was going to cull some of my rainbow palettes, but this is not going to go anywhere. I would always keep it around just because of the packaging. So it would go into a Makeup Memories box if I get rid of it. But this is rainbow shades, and these all have a murky undertone. But one that I'm going to get rid of, I'm not sure, is this brand still around? Dominique Cosmetics, Celestial Storm? I haven't heard anybody talking about them for a while. And this palette was lovely, but the further I got, like I did a look going from right to left, and the further I got to the left side of the palette, the harder pressed these became and the more difficulty I had working with these. So this Celestial Storm palette is gonna go. Then we have the Sigma Enchanted, and this is another one where I'm a bit on the fence because this wasn't my favorite formula, but this has such a stunning dark green. Like, I would say, like, this side of the palette, like these, this is such a stunning color story. I wish this was an 8-pan. Okay, so then we have Nomad Cosmetics, Lois Cosmetics, and Sydney Grace. So Nomad, I first tried the Nomad Tokyo Harajuku. And now that I have the other two, I know I can get rid of this. Also because I love the pastels in the Pastel Pop so much more. I know everybody keeps going on about these sparkly shades at the bottom. They weren't my favorite to work with for sure, so that's why I'm going to declutter the Nomad. But the Iceland palette, Land of Fire and Ice, I still have to put this on my eyes as you're watching this. By the time you're watching this, I will have played with this, I'm sure. This is just color story wise, it's already like bonus points, plus that little elf guy. I like it. And then the Haunted Europe. I mean, when they announced this, I was like, okay, I haven't even, like, because I didn't love the formula of the Tokyo Harajuku, I bought this to give the brand another chance. And then I haven't even used that yet, and I already bought this because this color story, all the grungy vibes, you guys. I love it. And then the Lois Cosmetics Meet Me at the Underworld palette. The packaging is just stunning. And they're doing this Meet Me at Midnight palette now too, which I'm very intrigued by. But this color story, yeah, I do like this. I did like playing around with it. I did some stunning looks with it, but I felt that the shimmer formula in here wasn't perfect. I just love the packaging more than I do the palette. Plus I feel that I can get this look, like these shades looks, or the looks I could do with these shades from other palettes. So Makeup Memories box. So this is the Sydney Grace Temptalia collab. I have quite a few Sydney Grace singles in my singles collection, but I had never tried any of their palettes. Mainly because the color stories were either very similar to what I have in my singles collection, or because it just didn't really appeal to me. But this really intrigued me. This is the Quintessence. This was my favorite from the get-go, but when I tried it, I felt it was perhaps not as unique as I thought it was going to be, but I love their shimmer formula, and I love how many shimmers we get in these. These are so much fun to play around with. And then the On the Horizon, yes. And in here, we get these like steely shades that I am essentially now letting go my Sleek palette for. This was my favorite of the three. It has the murky shades that I love. You get some greeny teals and then those rosy tone, more warm tone shades as well. Really pretty. And then this is your more vibrant jewel tone color story. So these really make sense to me in my brain. And they're really lovely, and some of the shades in here are just so great. So now I also have some newer things for you here. So I just got myself some Blend Bunny, so I haven't tried these yet. So the Dollhouse and the Surge. So now you understand why I had to get rid of some of my rainbow palettes, because I did buy this. Then the Arcana palette from Shroud Cosmetics. Oh my word, this is a perfect color story. I like their It's Freaking Bats, which they did with Betty Bean, but I ended up not loving the way the mattes and the shimmer sometimes combine. So for me, it wasn't perfect, but I can see merit in this, and I think that if I pull in these two together, that it's going to be just fine. And I want to keep my Creepy Cute, because again, it's got a really good matte black, and these pastels are really good too. And then I have the Tropical Dreams from OPV Beauty. I've always been recommending this to buy this if you missed out on the Tribe palette from Juvia's Place, because it's essentially that, plus 9 additional shades that the Juvia's Place doesn't have. So for me, I think it's time for me to declutter this now, because I'm gonna keep the Tribe for like the rest of my life. And then we have my two newest additions, the Ninhydrin and the Plain Jane Remastered from Adept. These, I think, are going to be so much fun to play around with. Welcome to my stack of Zoeva palettes. Zoeva is a brand that I love, but they discontinued all of the palettes that are at the bottom, and they now only have the top 2. So that's why I thought we could start off with that. I haven't tried the Together We Grow yet, which I think already from the get-go I thought this was going to be my favorite of the two. This I've used, I've reviewed it, and it wasn't my favorite. So this I'm going to get rid of. And all of these other ones, I'm just going to be very short and sweet. I'm going to keep the Precious. I'm keeping Cocoa Blend. I'm keeping On Taupe, Spice of Life, Blanc Fusion, Caramel Melange. I see the Melody, the Premier, then we have the Heritage, and we have the Eclectic Eyes. Since all of these are pretty much discontinued, I don't want to get rid of these because some of these are like my OG color stories. I love Zoeva eyeshadow palette quality. I could never get rid of these. So yeah, I'm going to get rid of the new one, and I'm going to try this. If I don't like it, I'll get rid of it next year. And we're ending this video with Urban Decay, which is going to be a brand that I never really declutter anything by, because they're just my favorite. I've decided that I'm just going to focus on the ones that I love, and that I'm going to move the ones that aren't my favorite but that I keep around for collector's purposes. And the fact that I like the fact that I own all of them. My Naked one is in my Makeup Memories box, so that's where the Reloaded is going to go as well. Then we have Naked 2, which is my favorite, not going anywhere. Naked 3. I've said it, this has been dethroned by the Huda Beauty Rose Quartz and the Natascha Denona Retro, the larger one, not the mini. Those two combined may give me what I get out of this palette. So this is not going anywhere though, because I still love it. Same for the Naked Smoky, because I like a couple of these shades enough to keep it in my everyday collection, especially some of these shades over here. Naked Heat, I love this for a warm tone look, but I prefer the Honey, but these are going to stay in my main collection for sure. The Naked Cherry has been my least favorite Naked palette for like a while now. I just feel there are better berry palettes on the market, so this is going to go into a Makeup Memories box. Ultraviolet. I don't care how many people hated on this palette, I love mine. Same for the Wild West. The reason why I'm decluttering the Colourpop Dream Street and pulling those shades out and putting the High Tide shades in is because I own this. And then I have the Naked Cyber, which again a lot of people disliked because it's not as flippy and special as some of the like multi-chromes and duochromes you get from indie brands, but I think this makes for a really soft, pretty look. I was really happy with the looks I did with this. Naked Mini 3. I mean, this can also replace the Naked 3 for me, so that's another reason why I don't need a backup of that. Naked 2 Basics. I think I would reach for something like the Dose of Colors Pretty Cool over this by now. And this is getting a bit old and grubby, so this is going to go into a Makeup Memories box. And the same for my Naked Basics, like the first one they did. And then just for completion's sake, I'm going to be showing you my limited edition Urban Decay palettes. Some of these are years old and you can no longer buy, but I know that people like it if you show everything you have. We have the back talk, so that's not going anywhere. Like, these are not going to go anywhere. No Makeup Memory box. Like, I love reaching for these from time to time, especially these Vice palettes. This is the Vice 4. We have the Full Spectrum. This is the jewelry box from their 15th anniversary collection that they did then. Alice in Wonderland Through the Looking Glass, which looks like this. After Dark, Heavy Metals Part 1 and Heavy Metals Part 2. Vice 1, which has that same really sticky rubberized packaging. This is getting grubbier by the minute, but still love some of the shades in there. Vice 2. We have Vice 3. So I've just counted everything out. I have 2 bins with things that I'm definitely getting rid of. Then off to the side right here, which you can't see, but it's over here, I've got a stack of things that I'm passing on to people or that are going into a Makeup Memories box. And then over here I have my palettes that I still need to do something with, or that I'm keeping around because I'm on YouTube and I want to do videos with it or whatever. Take shades out, do those kind of things. And altogether, there are 93 palettes here that I'm getting rid of, which I'm actually really happy with. I said that I wanted to hit at least 75, 100 if I can. So I think it's okay if I keep these 3. I think I'm pretty proud of myself. I think I'm getting rid of quite a few things, and I can keep these around for another round, and then we'll see next year what we want to do with them. I'm pretty happy with how much I'm getting rid of. I said at the start I wanted to hit at least 75, 100 if I could, and I definitely did. So I did take my 3 maybes, which is the Jaclyn Hill Morphe Dark Magic Vault Palette Lorac Pro 3 and Venus 3 from Lime Crime, and I've decided that I'm just going to keep them around for another year because that's just the way it goes. That makes me feel good, and I don't want to get rid of those just yet. So yeah, 93 palettes we're getting rid of. I feel very proud. Now, if you would like to see a more in-depth look into some of these palettes, you can. I've done a lot of videos in the past where I have, you know, grouped palettes together from the same brand and shown you swatches. I've ranked all of the different color stories, like color families that I've got going on as well. Plus, I do a lot of reviews every 10 palettes that I've used. Plus, I also do reviews on my blog, but I'm going to stop doing that. And every year in August, I do a full month dedicated to nothing but eyeshadow palettes. And I always like ending that month with my in-depth look at my makeup collection. And then the eyeshadow palettes, I should say. So an eyeshadow palette collection video goes live at the end of August every year. And actually this year, I want to do a eyeshadow palette week for the first time. So this month, in April, so next month, I think this video is going to go live at the end of March. So in April, you can expect a full week of eyeshadow palettes from me. So I hope this video wasn't too long and that you enjoyed me rambling about all of the palettes that I want to keep and why I'm getting rid of things. And then I hope you would like to stay tuned for more. Thumbs up the video if you like this one, and then I hope you would like to thumbs up the video if you liked it. Subscribe to my channel if you'd like to see more by me. I make 3 new videos a week, so I hope to see you in my next video. Bye-bye!